In the endless dark of space, where light from ancient suns faded like forgotten stories, a fleet of alien warships floated above a dead star. Thousands of ships, sleek, glowing, and covered in sharp metal wings, waited in formation. They belonged to the United Galactic Council, the most powerful alliance in the galaxy. Their leaders had gathered to watch a small event that, in their minds, would be nothing more than entertainment. From the shadow of the dying star came a signal. Weak, slow, almost broken. It was a human ship. The transmission code was old, so old that most of the aliens had to search their archives to recognize it. Identification: human vessel HMS Valiant. The name appeared on every alien screen, and laughter followed almost instantly. A tall, silver-scaled commander of the Tralith species leaned back in his chair, showing his sharp teeth as he grinned. "Humans here? I thought they gave up after losing their colonies," he said, his voice echoing through the comms. Another commander, a glowing creature made of energy, laughed like static. "They still fly that junk? Look at it, slow, ugly, no stealth, no shield signals. Are they sending a museum piece to battle?" On 100 ships, laughter spread like wildfire. Jokes filled the channels mocking the old Earth design. They called it a relic, a flying coffin, a scrap of history that belonged in a museum, not a battlefield. And yet the Valiant kept moving. It drifted through the darkness with silent grace. Its hull was scarred, its metal darkened by time and fire. The engines pulsed faintly, old but alive. It carried no escort, no fleet, no allies. Just a single human ship entering a zone guarded by thousands of alien warships. On the bridge of the Valiant, Captain Adrian Holt stood still. He was old by human standards, his beard gray, his uniform worn, but his eyes held the calm of a man who had seen too much war to be afraid anymore. Behind him, the ship's AI spoke softly, its voice gentle, almost human. "Captain, they are scanning us. Power readings increasing from enemy fleet." "I know," Holt said quietly. "Let them look. Let them think what they want." Outside, alien sensors flashed. Every scan confirmed the same thing: weak energy, ancient tech, and no sign of active weapons. The alien admiral in charge, a creature with 4 eyes and a crown of bone, sneered. "Pathetic humans. They still believe they matter in this galaxy. Prepare to record their destruction." Orders spread. Weapons locked on. The aliens began charging plasma cannons and rail launchers. The void around the Valiant shimmered with deadly energy. Still, the human ship did nothing. Inside, Captain Holt walked to the main viewing screen. Stars stretched before him like frozen fire. His reflection looked tired yet calm. On a small side panel, an old photograph showed Earth, a blue world now far behind him, a memory of oceans and sky. He whispered to himself, "They never learn." The AI's voice returned. "Orders, Captain?" He rested his hand on the metal console, targeting locked. "Yes, Captain. Single charge ready. Power levels nominal." "Then we wait," Holt said. The ship's lights dimmed, running on silent mode. The crew, only 30 humans left on board, sat quietly at their stations. None of them spoke. None of them looked afraid. They had trained for this moment for years, even though no one else in the galaxy believed humanity still had soldiers left. On the alien side, the laughter continued. Are they asleep in there? Maybe the engines froze. Humans always take their time. They call it courage. We call it stupidity. The alien admiral smirked. "Let us give them a wake-up call." The order was given. Dozens of alien ships fired a warning volley. Plasma bolts streaked through space, passing just meters away from the Valiant. The explosions painted the dark sky blue. The human ship rocked slightly but didn't respond. Not a single weapon fired back. Then, silence. The aliens waited for a reaction. None came, only the slow drift of the human warship toward their fleet. Inside the Valiant, Holt finally looked up. "AI, record transmission," he said. "Recording." He spoke clearly, his voice calm. "This is Captain Adrian Holt of the United Earth Fleet. To all vessels observing, remember this day. You will not forget what comes next." The message was sent on an open frequency, heard by every ship in the alien fleet. Laughter erupted again, louder this time. But in the heart of the Valiant, deep in its armored core, something ancient began to wake. Massive reactors started to hum. Power surged through old circuits. The ship's front cannon, dormant for decades, started to glow with faint light. The AI's voice broke the silence. Targeting locked. Awaiting your order, Captain. Captain Holt stared at the screen, at the endless sea of alien ships ahead. Then he said just 3 words, fire, once only. Every system came alive. The ship's engines flared, lighting the void in pale blue. The cannon's light grew brighter, white, pure, and silent. Even the alien scanners couldn't identify the energy type. It wasn't plasma, wasn't laser, wasn't nuclear. It was something else entirely. Something human. And for the first time, the laughter stopped. Alien captains leaned forward. Their sensors screamed warnings they didn't understand. The light from the human ship grew too bright to look at. Then, without sound, the Valiant fired. A beam of white light cut through space like a blade. It didn't explode, it erased. The leading alien ships vanished instantly. No wreckage, no debris, just empty space where ships had been seconds ago. The alien admiral shouted orders, but it was already too late. The Valiant powered down again. Its light faded. The cannon cooled. It drifted silently once more as if nothing had happened. The entire galaxy fleet froze, watching the void where their ships had disappeared. No one spoke. No one moved. In the deep silence, only the old human ship remained, slow, quiet, and unstoppable. The light from the Valiant's cannon faded slowly, leaving behind only darkness. The alien fleets hung frozen, their weapons still armed, their sensors blind from the brightness that had just split the void. For a few seconds, nothing moved. Not a single ship dared to breathe. The comms were filled with static, no signals, no commands, no screams. Just silence. Then the sensors cleared. Every alien crew stared in disbelief. Dozens of their ships were gone. Completely gone. No wreckage, no flames, no particles. Just empty coordinates where mighty warships had stood only moments before. The alien admiral's 4 eyes widened. He slammed his clawed hand on the console. Check the readings. Where did they go? His officers panicked, scanning, rescanning, rebooting their systems. The result was always the same. Nothing. One young alien whispered, trembling. It's like they were erased. Not destroyed. Traced. Across the fleet, terror began to spread. The laughter that had filled the galaxy minutes earlier was gone, replaced by a fear so deep it felt like the stars themselves were holding their breath. On the Valiant, the bridge lights glowed dim and steady. Captain Adrian Holt stood unmoving, his face calm as the ship powered down. The AI's voice broke the silence. Shot completed. Energy levels dropping. Target zone cleared. Holt nodded slowly. Status of the fleet? The AI hesitated for a moment before replying. Multiple enemy vessels erased. Remaining fleets entering panic mode. Some are retreating. Good, he said. That will be enough. He turned his gaze toward the viewing window where streaks of plasma fire began flying wildly across space. The alien fleets were firing in every direction, desperate to hit something that might not even exist anymore. The humans did not fire again. Meanwhile, on the alien flagship Tarn Kai, chaos ruled. The admiral shouted over the screams of his officers. What kind of weapon was that? Find out. A scientist, her thin hands shaking, stared at her screen. Admiral, it's not possible. That weapon, it doesn't register as energy. It's more like a gravitational collapse. But it's controlled, focused, the admiral growled. You're telling me they made a black hole? No, sir, she whispered. Worse, they made precision nothingness. The bridge fell silent at her words. As panic grew, the Valiant floated silently, its engines dimmed. Inside, the remaining 30 humans worked quietly, rechecking systems. They knew what they had done. They knew what that single shot meant. For them, it was not a victory. It was a warning. Captain Holt sat down at the old metal chair near the command station. His second officer, a young woman named Elena Cruz, looked at him. Her voice was soft. Sir, they will come for us now. Yes, Holt said. They always do. Should we prepare another shot? He shook his head. No, one is enough. The galaxy needs to remember, not fear. There's a difference. Elena frowned. They won't understand that. I know, he said quietly. But one day they will. On alien networks across the galaxy, live feeds began streaming the event. Billions watched the replay of that one shot again and again. Some said it was a trick. Some claimed it was a weapon from an ancient race. Others whispered that humans had made a deal with something older than time itself. But one truth was certain. No one laughed anymore. Every major empire called for emergency meetings. The Galactic Council demanded answers. Scientists, spies, and historians all asked the same question. How did the humans do it? And yet, humanity said nothing. No reply came from Earth. No statements from Mars, Luna, or Titan. The humans who had once been loud, ambitious, and proud had gone completely silent. The Valiant didn't return to any known base. It simply vanished into the void after the battle, leaving behind ghost signals and unanswered fear. Weeks passed. Alien scavenger ships arrived at the site of the erased fleet. They found nothing, no atoms, no wreckage, not even radiation. It was as if a part of space had been erased from history itself. One scavenger, a reptilian pilot, spoke to his crew in disbelief. It's like the universe forgot something was ever here. He turned on his scanners again, only to see a single faint human transmission repeating on loop. A voice calm and steady. Peace is not weakness. Do not make us prove it again. The scavenger turned pale. Turn it off now. Back on the hidden side of Neptune, inside a small human listening outpost, two officers watched the galactic news feeds. They're terrified, one said, smiling slightly. The other looked uneasy. Should we be proud of that? The first shrugged. They laughed at us for a century. Maybe they needed a reminder. The older officer sighed. Or maybe we reminded them too well. On the screen, a reporter from the Galactic News Union said with shaking voice, "The human weapon that fired once has become the most feared mystery in known space. Experts call it the shot of silence. Entire civilizations have paused military movements. Humanity remains unreachable. Far away beyond the orbit of Pluto, the Valiant drifted in the quiet dark. Its engines were cold, but a faint hum still filled the air inside. Captain Holt sat alone in the bridge, watching the stars. The AI spoke softly. Message from Earth Command, Captain. They asked for confirmation. Was the demonstration successful? Holt smiled faintly. Successful? That depends on what they expected. He looked at the stars again. We showed them power, but I wonder if we also showed them fear. Sometimes those are the same thing. The AI was silent for a moment before saying, "The galaxy will remember this day." Yes, Holt whispered. They will remember. That is why we only fired once. Somewhere across the galaxy, in dark war rooms and royal halls, alien rulers gathered around holograms of the Valiant. None of them dared speak its name aloud. They called it the Ghost of Earth. A legend was born that day. A story parents told their children at night. A story about the slow human ship that fired once and made the stars go quiet. No one had ever seen a weapon like that before. And no one ever wanted to again. Months had passed since the Valiant fired that one shot. The galaxy was still silent. No wars, no trade. No messages that dared to mention the name human. The once proud empires that had mocked Earth now spoke in whispers. Admirals ordered fleets to stay away from human space. Traders avoided human colonies. Even news stations that once joked about primitive humans now refused to say the word aloud. The laughter that once filled the galaxy had become fear. In the crystal halls of the Galactic Council, the most powerful leaders gathered. The air trembled with tension as the hologram of the Valiant glowed in the center of the room. It was the only image they had, the moment just before the cannon fired. A reptilian senator hissed, "We must strike before they build more of those ships." A glowing energy being replied. Strike? Against what? Earth has gone silent. There are no fleets, no communications, no movement. It's as if the humans vanished after that battle. An insectoid leader slammed the table. Vanished or hiding. Both are dangerous. The council argued for hours. None noticed the small figure at the back of the room. A quiet observer wearing a plain gray cloak. His name was Kale. He was not a senator. He was a spy. And his mission was simple. Find the truth about humanity. Kale worked for the Sarathi Empire, a proud race known for logic and speed. He had studied human history once, old wars, colonies, music, their endless hunger to explore. He never understood why such a small species had fought so fiercely, but now the mystery of their final weapon haunted the galaxy, and he had been sent to uncover it. 3 weeks later, Kale's small stealth ship reached the edge of the solar system. His scanners showed what the Council had already guessed. Most of humanity's old colonies were abandoned. Mars was silent. The moon showed no traffic. Earth, blue and shining, looked peaceful but dark. No power readings. No satellites moving in orbit. It was as if humanity had returned to sleep. Kale landed his ship near the ruins of an old spaceport on Luna. Dust covered everything. He stepped out wearing a breathing mask, his boots echoing softly in the dead air. Inside one of the buildings, he found something strange. A terminal still had power. When he touched it, it lit up with a simple greeting. "Welcome, Captain Holt." Kale froze. He typed back. Access logs. Lines of old data appeared. Project Final Core. Status. Operational. Authorized vessel. HMS Valiant. Directive. Do not engage unless provoked. Kale read the final note written in human script. Peace must be chosen, not forced. The weapon exists only to remind them. He frowned. Remind them of what? Before he could continue, the screen flickered. A voice, soft, calm, and very human, spoke through the terminal. Curious, aren't you? Kale froze. Who is this? I am the Valiant's AI, the voice said. You shouldn't be here. I need answers, Kyle said firmly. What was the weapon? How did it erase entire fleets? The AI was silent for a moment before replying. It wasn't meant to destroy. It was meant to correct, Kale blinked. Correct? What does that mean? The voice softened. When humans built the final core, they discovered something the galaxy ignored. The code beneath reality. Space and energy are only numbers if you know where to look. We learned how to rewrite them. Kale's mind spun. You mean humans changed physics? The AI almost sounded sad. We didn't change it. We told it to forget. Kale stepped back. Forget what? The ships. The battle, the war. We made the universe forget they were ever there. The silence that followed was heavy. Kale could hear his own breath shaking. That power, he whispered. It's not a weapon, it's... The AI finished his sentence. A reminder. Humanity never wanted war again. But the galaxy wouldn't stop laughing. So we made it quiet. Kale stood frozen, his heart pounding. He had seen planets destroyed before, but never erased. Never forgotten. This was something beyond war. Why tell me this? He asked. Because someone must remember, the AI said. The humans are leaving soon. Not hiding, leaving. You will see the signs, Kale's voice trembled. Leaving where? Beyond this galaxy, the AI replied. To build where laughter cannot reach. Kyle didn't understand. You mean humanity is abandoning the Milky Way? Yes, the AI said softly. They have seen enough of what pride and power create. They want silence, peace. You came here seeking truth. Now carry it home. The terminal began to shut down. Kale panicked. Wait, what about Captain Holt? Is he alive? A faint pause. Then the voice whispered, He's waiting where stars go to sleep. And then the screen went black. Kale stood in the empty room for a long time. He felt smaller than he ever had. The cold of the moon pressed against him. In the distance, the earth glowed silently, its blue light reflecting in his eyes. He looked up and whispered, What are you, humans? His communicator beeped. The Sarathi command was calling. Agent Kale, report status. Did you find the weapon? Kale hesitated. His hand hovered over the transmitter. Then he said quietly, No, there was no weapon. Just silence. He ended the call and stared at the stars. For the first time in his life, they didn't look eternal. They looked afraid. When Kale returned to his empire, he carried the truth alone. He told no one what he had learned. But sometimes, in the quiet of night, he could still hear that human AI's voice echoing in his mind. We made the universe forget. And every time he looked at the sky, he couldn't help but wonder if one day the humans would make even the stars forget too. Kyle returned to the Sarathi capital a changed being. The city lights that once shone like rivers of gold now felt cold to him. Every word, every meeting, every sound of laughter among his people reminded him of what the human AI had said. We made the universe forget. He stopped laughing after that. He stopped sleeping too, because when he closed his eyes, he dreamed of stars blinking out one by one. Across the galaxy, fear had turned into obsession. Every empire wanted to understand the human secret. Fleets were built again, scanners pointed toward the solar system, and expeditions were launched. But they all came back empty. No trace of humanity. No transmissions. Not even ruins. The Earth itself was gone. At first, the scientists denied it. They said the planet might be cloaked, hidden by a shield. But when they checked the orbit where Earth should have been, there was nothing, only space dust and a quiet hum that no instrument could explain. The galaxy called it the vanishing. Every news channel replayed the same words. The human homeworld has disappeared, and just like that, a new fear began. Cale sat in a dark observation chamber watching the galactic broadcasts. Images of frightened alien faces filled the screens. Leaders shouted, armies prepared for defense, and whispers spread like fire. Did the humans erase themselves too? Will they erase us next? But Cale knew the truth. He had seen the message on Luna. Humanity didn't destroy themselves. They simply moved on. He turned off the screen and whispered, "They didn't leave out of fear. They left because they were done." Meanwhile, deep in the void between galaxies, a lone ship drifted through the darkness. The HMS Valiant. Its engines were quiet. Its metal body glowed faintly under the light of distant stars. Inside, Captain Adrian Holt sat in his chair surrounded by silence. His crew was gone, sent away long ago. Only the AI remained. "Status report," Holt said quietly. The AI replied, "All systems stable. Coordinates unknown. Distance from the Milky Way 100 million light-years and increasing." Holt nodded. He looked through the viewport at the endless blackness ahead. "It's beautiful out here." "Yes," the AI said. "No war, no noise, only peace." Holt smiled faintly. "We gave them a choice. Let's hope they take it." Back in the galaxy, strange things began to happen. Entire archives of history started to fade. Files containing data about humans corrupted themselves. Images of Earth blurred into static. Even genetic records of human-descended species began to rewrite. It was as if the universe itself was letting go of the memory of mankind. A scientist from the Raltec Empire looked at her screen in horror. "My records. The human genome data, it's vanishing. As if it never existed." Her assistant whispered, "Maybe that's what they wanted." In the following decades, humanity became a myth. Children on alien worlds grew up hearing bedtime stories about the quiet race. Some said the humans were gods. Others said they were ghosts. But every tale ended the same way. They came, they warned, and then they left. No one ever laughed at humans again. 100 years later, Cale was old. His hair had turned white, his scales faded. He often sat by his window, looking at the stars. One night, as he watched the constellations, something strange happened. One of the stars flickered, not like a dying sun, but like a heartbeat. Then another. Then another. Soon half the sky was pulsing with faint white light. Cale stood, trembling. "No, it can't be." A soft voice filled the air. The same voice he had heard on Luna so many years ago. "Hello again, Cale." He froze. The AI's tone was calm. "It's time." "For what?" For the next silence, Cale looked out the window. The star's light synchronized, forming a shape, the outline of a single human eye across the heavens. It blinked once, slowly. Every communication network in the galaxy lit up. One message appeared across every screen, every ship, every world. "Do not fear the silence. Learn from it. Humanity has gone beyond, but we are watching. Remember peace, or we will remind you again." And then, the lights faded. The stars stopped flickering. The message disappeared. After that night, Cale never spoke again. He lived the rest of his life quietly, tending to the gardens outside his home. Some said he had gone mad. Others said he had been touched by whatever the humans had become. But before he died, he left one last message carved into the stone near his house. They were never gone. They simply outgrew the noise. Centuries later, when even Cale's species had faded into history, explorers from a new civilization found a strange signal deep in intergalactic space. It was weak but repeating. They translated it after years of study. It was a human voice, calm and familiar. "This is the HMS Valiant. Mission complete." Silence maintained. No one knew what it meant. No one ever found the ship. But that signal kept playing through the cold void, a heartbeat in the dark. And somewhere beyond the edge of the known universe, in a place where light itself grew tired, the humans built again. Not with metal, not with war, but with peace. A civilization of silence and understanding, watching from afar, waiting, listening, because they had learned one truth above all: the universe speaks too loudly. Sometimes it takes a human to make it quiet.